So I decided then and there on that day, that was the 22nd of January 22, and that was the last time I touched alcohol. I was trying to think back to when alcohol really impacted me, and I remember I was working my first retail job. I was 14 years old, or 14 and 9 months, so I was like pretty young. And I remember this guy that I worked with, and he was having a chat with someone, like another colleague, and she said to him, "You look like you need to go home and have a beer." And I remember that, and I remember thinking, I can't wait till I can go home and have a beer. I'm at the age that my dad was probably at when he could have made a change, or when people around him realised that there was a problem and he chose not to address it. I'm choosing to address it and to break that cycle, I guess. I just find that the value we put on it as a society is what causes a lot of these problems, because I spent a lot of time defending my decision to workmates. I felt like they almost took my decision as an insult, like I was judging them. I feel like people like my generation, that sort of age group, and they're sort of people who are now, in their 40s and even 50s, I feel like there's still a big problem there. It's like this rite of passage, it's this way of life. And I'm very conscious of it now around, like I've got a lot of nieces and nephews now who are always, if we have family gatherings and stuff, I'm very conscious about how it looks to them, because I remember how it looked to me as a kid. Kids pick up on that stuff, and they form those beliefs and those attitudes very early on, I think a lot earlier than we realise. It's not just about, obviously, advertising and stuff doesn't help because it's in their face all the time, but it's also the conversations we're having around them at home, and we're having at parties and at family gatherings and things like that. A big one that I noticed after I stopped drinking was how much of a Aussie culture thing it really is. And I think television, how it's talked about on television, how it's talked about on radio, like radio really got me. And I'm listening to it and kind of going, this isn't, they have more responsibility than this, I think, the more responsibility than they realise. And that is that we shouldn't be glorifying day drinking and, excessive drinking and things like that, or hangovers. Hangovers are a big one. They're always talking about how funny being hungover is. It's a real problem, and it really debilitates people's lives. And I remember it myself. There were times when I would turn up to work on a Wednesday morning really hungover. But yeah, I think friends, my small group of friends, I've got quite a tight group of friends, have been great. The day after I decided to quit, we went out for a coffee, and I sat down and I just said to them, these are guys that I've grown up with, and I said, I'm quitting drinking. I'm gonna give up alcohol. And the first thing he said to me was, "Are you okay?" Like, it was genuine, and that was massive for me. Like, it was really genuine care, and it hasn't been weird with my friends at all. And I think a lot of people have opened up to me, people that I wouldn't have expected, who have said, how does it go? So there's a lot of that, a lot of interest from some people, and which has been great.